Good evening. Tonight I will show you how to let Windows NT 4.0 use VirtualBox's AC97 emulation. You may want to do this because VirtualBox's SoundBlaster 16 emulation is broken and unlikely to be fixed. If you are starting from a fresh installation of NT 4.0 with no sound drivers, then you can skip this first chapter. Otherwise, this chapter shows how to uninstall the SoundBlaster 16 driver. The most user-friendly way to uninstall the driver is to go to Control Panel, Multimedia, Devices, expand Audio Devices, select the SoundBlaster 16 entry, click Remove down below, confirm the prompt, and restart. If after the restart you no longer see the SoundBlaster 16 entry, then you can go to the next chapter. However, this removal procedure does not always work, so in that case you will need to manually remove the driver, which is not too difficult either. Open the Windows Registry Editor and navigate to HKey Local Machine, System, Current Control Set, Services. Then find the subkey SoundBlaster and delete it. Then navigate to HKey Local Machine, Software, Microsoft, Windows NT, Current Version, Drivers, and delete any values referencing SoundBlaster, soundblast.dll, or the likes. Do the same in Drivers 32. After that, restart the OS. After the restart, go to C, WinNT, System 32. You will have to enable showing hidden and system files in the folder options. You can do this by going to View, Folder Options, then View the View tab, Show All Files. Apply. After that, find soundblast.dll and delete it. Then enter the drivers subdirectory and delete soundblast.sys. Shut down the VM. The first thing you need to do in this chapter is to switch the VM's audio controller from SoundBlaster 16 to AC97. Then you need an AC97 driver compatible with Windows NT 4.0 and VirtualBox. The Realtek drivers will not work as they do not seem to recognize VirtualBox's sound controller. However, there is a VIA driver on the RetroWeb which, while it does not work out of the box, only takes very little to get working. You will need to find a way to transfer the downloaded driver to your VM. This process will be omitted for brevity's sake, but one way to do this is to use software such as ImageBurn to create an ISO image that can be read in your VM. If you do use ImageBurn, ensure that you use Mirror 7, as the other downloads may contain adware. Within your Windows NT 4.0 VM, launch the drivers setup.exe and select Intel ICH for your AC97 controller. Let the installer proceed and restart the VM when prompted. After the restart, you will find that the volume control has appeared and the audio controller is recognized. However, no sound is audible. I made a separate video on why this is, but for this guide it is sufficient to know that there is a solution. Specifically, you can download this fix from GitLab. If you are understandably skeptical about running driver code written by a stranger on the internet, I would encourage you to look at the source code. It is quite short and should be at least somewhat comprehensible, even to people with no driver development knowledge. For your convenience, the release includes both a floppy disk image and an ISO image. You can use either with your VM, as they contain the same files. Copy AC97Fix.sys to C WinNT System32 drivers. Then run AC97Fix.reg. Before you reboot, disable the exit Windows sound. This is necessary because if the sound is enabled, then Windows NT 4.0 will not shut down, because it keeps waiting for the log-off sound to play, but that cannot happen yet due to the non-functioning sound driver, and so it just gets stuck. So that's why you have to disable this sound. Once you have disabled it, restart Windows NT 4.0. Naturally, you can re-enable the sound once the sound driver is working. Upon the next startup, you should now hear that delightful log-on sound. And there you go, Windows NT 4.0 is now using VirtualBox's AC97 controller. We will end with a back-to-back sound comparison of VirtualBox's broken SoundBlaster 16 emulation versus the AC97 emulation. Good night!